Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings. This is Let's Talk Real Life with Native Manning. I am your co host, Coach Vernon Garrison, and we have a great show in store for you today. Well, this is Awesome Radio 107.5 WECU, 1570 AM, and also Smooth Radio 100.3 WYLT over in the Rocky Mount area. So we do appreciate the listening audience tuning in on social media. We're on Awesome Radio, Facebook, Awesome Radio, YouTube. We're also GPAT 23, Facebook, and GPAT 23, YouTube, local access channel, where we bring a great show and, of course, the gospel to you right in your home and devices. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And now, without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, children alike, the host of the show, Miss Nigger Manning.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you. It's just so much to talk about today, but like Coach said, he did a fine introduction. So here we are again, talking about families. Yeah, we've talked about families before. I know, but families are so critical. Families is what makes the world go round. Stronger families, safer streets. That's our topic that we are going to have several, well, I won't know about several, but a few parts to it. We won't get to cover everything tonight, but I wanted to focus on the links between family and crime, family structure and crime. That is a subtopic for stronger families, safer streets. Why was this particular topic chosen? Because it's the end of the school year for most of the country. And I'd like to think maybe some outside the country. I mean, everybody is not going to school. There's still some people, some students in school. However, the majority are out of school. And, truth be told, many families are facing children out of school, too young to go to work, but old enough to get in trouble. And some of them are one and the same. They're old enough and they do get in trouble, and some of them don't get into any trouble. But I think that this was a good time to bring this up because school is out. This is the summer months, and family structure is the meat of this whole thing. The family structure. Now we know that all families are not wholesome. Statistics tell us that many families are not. There are more families that are not whole than there are that are whole. Whole meaning both parents in the home. And fortunately, for some families, just because it's not a mother and father in the home, they do have the grandparents or other adults in the home that can pick up the slack. Some households, not all of them. So we're faced with this issue where crime come in, the structure of the family and crime. We have some information. Some of it is statistical, but I don't like going into a whole lot of percentages. I think that all of us are aware that the majority of the families that are, I won't say dysfunctional, but one parent family, all one parent families are not dysfunctional. So I don't want to put that out there because that's not true. It's not whole, but that don't mean it's dysfunctional either. There are some single parent homes that do have very good structure going on because why? They have support. They have support outside of the home, whether it be aunties or uncles or neighbors. You hear me talk a lot about back in the day because that's when I was a parent of young children. So back in the day, there were neighbors that took up a lot of the slack that I was not able to handle. And it made it a lot easier. And I find that to be a lot different than it is today. I could just hand my child across the porch the way we lived, because we lived in row houses back then. And I could just put my child across the porch, um, husband gone to work. So by him gone to work so early, it left me to make sure that the child would be handed over to the babysitter because he was gone. So that made it very convenient. However, today, now, like I've said to you on the show before, most of the time I was a single parent. As those boys grew up into teenage years, I was a single parent. So it made it a little bit more difficult. That's that age where they are out of school. They too, like I said earlier, they are too young to get a job. Well, I would say a lucrative job. I mean, I guess, I don't know how it is today. 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, I guess they can get jobs. I guess they can. And McDonald's or what have you. I'm not sure how it works today. But back then there was car washing going on. I mean, the boys would go out and on Saturdays and they would wash cars and they wash windows. Well, see, all of that's not going. I haven't seen that go on. Ain't nobody walked up to my car in a long, long time saying, "Can I wash your windows?" I don't think they do that anymore. But that was something constructive for the children to do. So back, thinking about it today, what is it that can fill in the gap for that structure of families that don't have a to fill in the gap, so to speak? And I'm thinking that this has a lot to do, because it was crime going on then as well, but it wasn't the same. Um, so today we're talking about today's crime, where I think I've already heard 2 or 3 times over the past 2 weeks where young boys got drowned and they were out swimming somewhere, and somebody got shot in another county, and all of these are young boys. What's going on? What is the problem that can be? I don't know. How can we deal with this? I know what I would like to do, but it takes more than me to do it. It takes more than one person to raise a family. Like we always say, it takes a village. So it would take a team to work together to do a 24-hour support system for these young children. Now, I'm not talking about teenagers only. I'm talking about young children, preschoolers, because they can get into stuff too at home. So what do? So here we are talking about various things, different perspectives about urban crime versus the inner city crime, and I found that it appears, and I guess I'm sure Coach being the intellectual for these crimes and looking up stuff and been into it, I rely on him as he can voice his experience on what it's like and what the solution could be if, and fill in the blank, if what? If what? How do we solicit adults, young adults, or older adults to take part in trying to solve this problem? Yes.
But before we get to the answer, we got to look at some more of the root causes here. There's a major debate here. Great introduction to the subject, but is it unemployment, economical inequality, poverty? There's a lot of factors here that we want to talk about, and that's just one perspective. There is, some people, there are crimes committed for cash, money, based on poverty, based on their social status. And there are crimes of passion committed for emotional reasons, things of that nature. So if you take that perspective, and there's one that I want to rewind the tape where you were talking about the family structure. Uh, and we'll get to that one in a moment. But no, I gotta. If the statistics are right, I am going to have to dig into that one a little more. But as far as the unemployment, you just touched on that when you were talking about occupying a young person's time, and also the whether the parents have a job, whether they're job dependent to the point that they don't get home until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, or work second shift and they leave before the child comes home from school. And job dependency is such a huge factor because you're not only talking about a latchkey child, you're talking about a child that's just roaming the streets with very little parental support when it comes to that. Now I can tie in the single parent home based on the data and the analysis of it. I can tie in the single parent part by saying just this one part, that the lack of supervision, not that they're bad parents or a bad parent or a bad single parent, but just that level of supervision in a lot of cases is not adequate enough for some teenagers or young people to cover them. Now they can know right from wrong all day long, but as soon as their peer knock on the door, hey man, can we come in? Is your mama home? Or is your daddy here? No, man, I'm here by myself, man. All right. What we gonna do? Man, I ain't supposed to let nobody in the house. Man, don't worry about that, man. We straight. We ain't gonna tear up nothing. We ain't gonna break nothing. We good. Plus, I'm gonna call Michelle and I'm gonna have her come over here. You down with that? Man, well, we better hurry up because Mama calls about 8 o'clock every night on break, and things better be straight. Yeah, we'll be gone before then. So when you look at it in that area, poverty agitates everything. I just joined a think tank where we're talking about mental health, the state of mental health in the community. And now it's a grand opportunity because we're talking about mental health and teenagers and men. It's a grand opportunity to start out with, let me get in the center, to start out with the economical factors in the city, along with the dealing with trauma and mental illnesses or emotional factors. I'll be ready to go to the economical development committee of this city and say, what's the future look like as far as training, the citizens, the aptitude, the market on getting people educated here in this city, get them to the 4-year institution so that we can be a labor force for quality of work where industry will come here like in the next 10 years, such as a Google or some of the corporate companies that run America can plant here. So, but at the same time, I got you. But at the same time, we're dealing with children. We're dealing with people coming out of prison. We're dealing with the family structure. And there's a couple of more perspectives, but that's the one dealing with economics.
Okay. I don't disagree. Everything you're saying is valid. However, getting to that education part for these young people is a challenge. Getting them through regular school is a challenge. The further education and developing all of this outside of the high school and in the college, all of that's great. But the biggest challenge is between birth and 18. If you can get them to through those 18 years and get their minds right and focus on the better things of life, then you can move forward to what they can do out there in NASA and all these other reputable businesses and companies. But first, they have to be developed.
Well, I want to join you right there. I want to join you right where you at. First of all, the Bible says, train up, and I say this on every show, train up a child. We've allowed the public school system to teach our children. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that still existed that way, but it's the primary source of American colored folks, brown, yellow. It's a primary source of education. Children not only need to be trained and taught in mathematics, arithmetic, and social studies, they need to be taught in life. I don't need to be learning the birds and the bees and the home economics. So we've got a situation here where we're so not spirited about education that we allow people to program what you call indoctrinate through some type of social conduct based on some type of board of education. Education takes materials. Education takes us to the point that what are we going to do? Create an institution to teach our children? Absolutely. Should our children integrate and have multiracial schools? At this point, I think it's optional because with blacks being at the social, we're third-class citizens now in the United States. That is not sounding an alarm to anybody that I see, except a couple of people on social media. We got to take that more serious so our children can be competitive in some of the basic education that they need. Now, the colleges, communities have started a track in the 8th grade that will lead you to college in one of two ways, the technical and then the other direction. You have to check that out. So yes, ma'am, the colleges have started, the city, the community colleges. You can start going to college in the 10th grade.
I see your point, but again, the structure starts at home. Yeah.
And it's not starting at home. There ain't nothing started there.
I know. What I'm saying is, I get your point about educating the children, but they first have to learn discipline. They have to learn how to behave in certain environments, which is the structure of the home. And that's where we know that's where it should start. But I would say physically in the home can be your neighborhood. Your home can be a community that's set up where you have structural training. It don't have to be in a house per se. The home can be a room. Everybody can't have a house. Everybody can't have an apartment. So in that particular 2-3 rooms, that's considered the home. That's where all of the structuring should begin before we get out there in the street and face all of these other issues out there with this one and that one and the other and pulling you this way and that way and that way. Oh man, come on. Like you just said about coming over and inviting the girlfriend, the Michelle. Okay, these ain't no little bitty boys that want to do this. These are big boys you're talking about. So boys will be boys, girls will be girls. We know that. We were both girl and a boy once upon a time. So we ain't always been grown. So we have a little bit of knowledge about all of that. But what I'm saying is to develop that environment. I mean, it could be as far as where I saw this. It can be, what about the law enforcement? How about developing a group that have a policeman or a prosecutor or someone of that stature that can kind of make the whole thing whole to kind of get together and form a group for these children. I'm talking about a solution here. We know what the problem is. Okay, we know what's needed, but what's needed is what we don't have, and that's a group of responsible adults, young adults, old adults. I mean, you can get some responsible teenagers that can kind of help out with those little ones, because we got some pretty smart, mature teenagers, 17, 18-year-olds, to be that young. So what I'm saying is, I'm thinking the solution to this structure of this family that is seen to be in such a disarray is to come together with a group, different experts. Like I said, a policeman, I don't know, I might be beneath a judge, but it won't hurt for one to be in there to help out. I'm just saying, parents and all of these other levels of experience to get these children ready to go out there and realize that this education you keep talking about is critical. But they got to have the mindset to stay in there and focus on the education. Focus, not let this and that and the other pulling you every which way. They don't know no better. They're not taught any better.
They have a thing called teen court in the community.
Yes.
And that is where teens go and they learn about the court system and the judicial system and understand the crime and understand how punishment should fit the crime. It's sort of a doctrine, it's sort of a training ground so they can understand that they're about to become adults. And we have a judicial system, we have a prosecutorial system that we're going to use to help manage your behavior, once you become 16.
So what do we do with the parents? Because the parents, many times, is the root of the problem. Some parents, and I know a couple of them, some parents don't choose to let their child go too far away from them. In other words, they don't want that bird to get too far out of that nest. Even though they are not doing well in the nest, because the nest is so disruptive, the nest is the home. But the parent is insisting on, oh no, I can't let my child go away and stay 6 weeks or 2 months. I'm not talking about letting them go like they're going to boot camp or something. I mean, they can come home every day. I mean, you can go to some type of setup or environment 2-3 times a week. Nobody said anything about moving the child out of the house unless it becomes necessary. If the house is that disruptive, where maybe that child will be better off outside of the home. But again, that's up to the parent because the parent is the one that's in control. So what do you do in a situation like that? Other than I'm saying we need to talk to the parents too. It's not always just the child. Sometimes the child is willing and ready, but it's the parent that's holding it up. No, he's gonna be all right. She's gonna be all right. And just give me some more time with him. Okay, 2-3 months go by, and the next thing you know, something else has happened in school or out in the environment during the summertime. But the parent was supposed to take care of it. Parent didn't do it. So shouldn't there be some type of support group? You can't make a parent do it because they're grown. But some type of something that can be set up for that parent or those parents.
Here's what you got to do. You got to, knowledge is power. And you have to hit families with the truth. Urban crime is definitely associated with the betterment of it. Reductionist crime is associated with having healthy sports programs, other institutions, nonprofits. I just got to stop looking at the screen down there. Nonprofits and other programs that's going on in your city, interaction among the city and its inhabitants that deter crime by having relationships with people that are positive. So that is a truth. Institutions that are built that people and children can get involved, boys and girls clubs, churches, uh, institutions, uh, the more the merrier. Now, I'm basically hitting you with a truth. When it comes to family, you got to hit them with this one big one. The communities that are two parent family dominated have less crime.
Yeah.
Let's just stop right there. So as a mayor, let's say we're the city council, me and you, we want to go on promoting families, promoting integration of activities into families, festivals, and all of these things that the ministers calling the preachers together. And um, we believe in marriage, in preaching marriage and relationship building with the family. Those are the things that we need to embellish. You know my thing on preaching and preachers and preachers that preach or don't preach about marriage. It is the biggest, most important institution, and now we're talking about crime, and the lack of marriage is primarily the reason. Statistically, numbers don't lie. The lack of marriage is the reason the kids are committing crimes. The two go hand in hand.
I kind of beg to differ on that statement right there.
The,
You know why?
the numbers don't lie.
I know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the marriage part.
Okay.
All marriages don't produce good children.
Now, why would you say a thing like that? But we're talking about the whole. We're not
I'm
talking
talking.
about a specific.
You're saying that it's the marriage.
Yeah, the crime in the cities are committed by children primarily. Now, this is true. I've known this for months now. That's why people stop saying I can do bad by myself. I don't need a man to help me raise my child. I'm just giving it to y'all straight, no chaser. Women are not saying that anymore because that joke didn't work. Most of the children in prison and jails were raised by single parents. Now, didn't say the single parent was bad. No, 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 no. It's just that those two correspond, and it happens to be a truth. I haven't heard it in a long time. I can be the man. I can be the woman too. I don't need no man. That's leaving quickly.
Yes, I agree.
Some people might be saying two partners in the home now, two men and two women. They might be saying that, but they certainly ain't saying, well, I don't need my man. I got my son or I got my daughter and I'm a good parent. Look at them. They got an education. They got this. Those are the exceptions, but not an exception to the holistic part that a lot of the children that are in prison now from single family homes, a lot of the men that are in jail, I just learned this past week. You look this one up. A lot of the men, probably 75 to 80% of the men that are in jail right now are in jail because of a woman. For some reason or not, they are in jail, likely a busted relationship, bad behavior, domestic causes. I'd have to do more research on that. And I could stand to be corrected. But no, not saying that single parents were bad. I haven't read anything as that such. But it is, and even this story, how is the family structure associated with crime, violent crime, homicide rates in America, and with the outcomes in the Chicago neighborhoods? We find the cities are safer when two-parent families dominate more crime-ridden when family instability is common. The same story applies to neighborhoods. So they suggest the need to encourage more young Americans, particularly those living in vulnerable neighborhoods with both high rates of violence and out of wedlock childbearing, towards forming strong, stable families in marriage. Now, that's an option. The marriage part, they put a question mark behind it. But
Well, anyway, you're making valid points. I just wanted to interact just a little bit there about the marriage thing.
yeah,
Understanding that two people don't make it right, but two people can be together to raise a child without being married. I just
oh
want to say that.
yeah, I think so. Yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think that. But they did mention in this study, they did say out of wedlock. Though
Okay.
they do mention that. They didn't
It,
say that your uncle can't help. They didn't say that the children who didn't have an uncle helping them raise the family got into crime. But if it's a single parent and they're working with the child's uncle, they didn't cite any statistics. So
okay. Let me put this out there then. If you have a mother and father and they are consensually not together for whatever reason, and
right,
they have this one or two children or more,
right,
but they are still working together as mother and father of those children without living together in the same household.
right,
It's more of a challenge to do it that way, but it can
yeah,
be done. So I guess my question and a point is, one don't have to be married to be wholesome in raising a child if they are going to be two responsible adults with those children or that child.
well, see,
Responsible meaning coming together, making up a plan and working together. They don't have to, and that's the impression that I got that you were talking about.
no,
They don't have to
that's
be
not
married.
gonna cut it. No, ma'am, that's not gonna cut it. The study says two parent homes. It didn't say families where they're split up and dad comes gets them. Now, the positive thing about what you said is that I learned this summer was a child that spends more time with their father, little girl or little boy, a child that spends more time with the father turns out to be more successful. Hear me out. Now, you can go in any direction you want with that. A child that spends more time with their father. Now, there's another statistic that says black men spend more one on one time with their children than any other race. Look at that subject there. Now, so those are things that are surrounding what you just said, but I can't say, being that we're talking about studies and outcomes, that just if a family, if a parent is divorced and they share parenting, that their kids don't get in trouble too, because that's still a single parent situation,
Yeah,
and it's not a two parent home.
they still get it. They still may get into trouble, but both
Yeah.
parents are still active in the child's life. That's my point.
Yes. Yeah, that's
As
still
opposed
active.
to as opposed to one parent not being involved at all or far and in between.
But
That's
the study doesn't reflect that deters crime. Two parent homes deter violent crime in urban areas. That's what these studies are saying. And here's how. You got to hear, just look at the document right in front of you. Adverse childhood experiences, behaviors, disorders, and family structure. Number one, poor parental supervision. You can't be, home all the time because you got to work. Punitive or erratic parental discipline. One
hold on,
parent,
hold on.
yeah,
I see what you're saying, but let's
yeah,
take the first poor parental supervision because what you were saying, one, you can't be home all the time. But if it's two parents, whether he's
yeah,
in the house or not,
right,
he can take up the slack and go pick up the child or fill in the gap, so to speak. That child is still with both parents. That's my point. Well, I'm just trying to say that there's a working way. If they work together, it can be resolved to avoid, not get rid of it, but to avoid as much crime. I'm saying if they work together.
Nothing says all those positive things don't matter, but the statistics don't say, in this study, there's a lot of studies, that divorced parents who work together still deter crime. No. It says 2-parent homes deter crime. Parents that are married deter children from committing crimes. Communities that are dominated, and I just read it to you, that are dominated by 2-parent homes. It didn't say dominated that are married. It didn't say 2 parents and I live on that side of town, you live on the other side of town, and we work. No, it didn't say that works the same as married families. Or it would have said 2-parent homes and divorced parents, separated parents, or friends or cousins that work together to raise children all deter crime. It didn't say
that. Either way you look at it, it affects the child when there's some type of disruption going on in the home, whether they're separated or together. In one family, one household, the chances of the child doing better, yes, I get that point. But nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is 100%. Whether they together and don't ever break up, it's still could be a problem. So that's my argument there. And yes, you were reading the poor parental supervision. Absolutely.
Okay, here's where
the attitudes of these parents, that weighs a lot.
Check this out. So you're on it. Studies have shown that compared to those intact, compared to those families intact, especially married families, children in single parent families experience. Now they're making a comparison, just like you were saying that it works with or without. They're making a comparison. Lower parental supervision levels, higher parental conflict levels. So the children in single parent homes, they got the conflict levels that are higher. Didn't say it's the negative environment, and no, you got a mom that don't get along with dad that well, so you just go from one side to the other. Higher parental conflict levels, higher risk of low family income and poverty. You got one daddy might not be paying, or mama might not be paying child support, or there's just one job there. So I'm not trying to penalize a single parent. I'm not trying to demonize a single parent, but you got a higher risk.
And it goes even if they're in the house together. That same income issue could be an income problem.
You can't mention that there. You can't mention that there because you're talking about a parental structure of love. There's no child that says, I'm not going to love my daddy unless he makes $100,000 a year. That child only knows that his father is with them, and that's the bond of love that you get when you're married. So no, you can't bring that one in. The last one is a byproduct of a single parent home. And you would have to research this one, but I bet you it's going to come out. A higher risk of abuse and neglect with a single parent that's not married. Go figure.
Of course. You're not going to, I remember, I am a single parent, so I already lived it.
So it's a struggle is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not saying.
I'm not denying that.
But see, a lot of these things that they're saying is not related to the stuff that you're being defensive about. It's just related to creating a holistic child that is, this is the way God wanted it to be, to have 2 parents married. This is not going to work as good as single parent.
This is real life here. This is Let's Talk Real Life show, folks.
Yeah.
We're talking about real life stuff.
Exactly.
And the way it is, we're not making up anything. I'm here to tell you, I have the experience of the single parenthood. All of this stuff that they're talking about, I can relate to it. Nothing is statistical as far as these words are going. I'm saying that everything is. I'm not saying it's not right, but I'm saying experience is the better teacher. Okay, and I'm saying that if we're going to talk real life stuff here, and that's what we're trying to do, put the real stuff out here. Now, I'm not saying ignore what's on paper, because statistics they're looking at the whole picture. Me, I'm just looking at one picture, and that's mine. Now, is that being selfish? No, I think I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
What it was really, really like. No,
well, let me say this.
I didn't experience all of this stuff. The neglect, yes, but not the abuse part. All of that other stuff. No.
You don't represent all the families either. Of course you don't.
No,
but let me add some harmony to this, since we got stuck on this one perspective from crime. I like the way they summarize this. Okay. In other words, one of the potential mechanisms driving the relationship between family structure and crime, listen to it closely, one of the potential mechanisms driving the relationship between family structure and crime is the fact that children raised by single parents are unstable families and are more likely to be exposed to many of the risk factors that can metastasize into more serious mental disorders, such as I won't go through that list. In turn, are strongly associated with adolescent and adult criminal behavior, meaning the loneliness, the self-esteem issues, the just some of the natural things that a child might want to feel belong, to feel the status of other children. Or you got a mommy and daddy and you don't. I mean, those are the things that they're related to. These things, whether you get a like on Facebook or not, Facebook is in trouble for that right now, because likes are causing people's behavior to change. If they don't get likes or responses, child get depressed. So why wouldn't another child pick on another child like they picked on me? Oh, you got holes in your shirt, you got dirty shoes, you got this, you got that, but that stuff didn't bother me. But it's how my family was raising me.
Right.
Your dad is an alcoholic. He was laying in the road drunk the other day. It didn't bother me. But just the holistic approach. But we got stuck on the family. But that is not the only aspect. It is also about the institutions, the schools, all of those things are related. And so there's 3 or 4 areas that make a successful village when it comes to dealing with crime. Also, the way the law enforcement is structured, the way the court system is structured. You have a war on crime. Do you have what type of drug you got in the street? Crack cocaine, meth. It's a whole lot of factors that go into crime in a community, other than whether they're single parents or not.
Well, folks, we got about 10 minutes left, maybe something like that. 10:53. Okay. A little bit less than 10 minutes. I just wanted to kind of focus on how we can resolve what we know is a problem. And it's not just here in North Carolina. It's all over I think it's all over the world, actually. But since we are in the United States, then we just focusing on the United States, although the whole world can hear us. I would love to hear how some other places are resolving some of these issues, because surely we are not the worst here in this area, but we're not the best either. I'd like to think that somewhere in this world there is a solution where the group is doing pretty good. Not 100%. They probably won't ever reach 100% because nobody's 100%. but doing pretty good. I would say maybe 75%, where we might be at 50% or 30% here. Um, I would be interested in knowing, and hopefully someone can give us some ideas on how. I kind of know how to do it. Like I said earlier, I just don't have the support group that I would like to have to move forward. And that's what I would like to find out from different ones, all of you who are listening, because the Lord wants us to help one another. That's what it's all about. And we're talking about these young children under the age of 18, pretty much, that's kind of lost. They're kind of lost, and they kind of twist in between. They're looking for help, but they don't know where to get it from. And there are some groups out there that's working. I think there's a Boys and Girls Club here, and I don't know how well they're doing, but I don't hear a whole lot about them. But maybe they're making a difference in some of the lives. It's not very much publicized with it, so it makes me wonder how we can move forward with finding a solution. And the best time to come up with these ideas, I think, is during the summertime when school is out, because the teachers are not in school. They may, they probably so plumb tuckered out from the whole school year. They probably don't even want to think about doing nothing at this point, as far as the children are concerned, because they trying to get them to, I think school open again next month, August. So I'm just trying to find out how we can go about helping. We won't be able to solve every problem, but starting something that can make a difference in these young adults, these young children's lives, because they really, really, really need some help. And I don't want to just stick on the children. I mean, the parents are so young. I had one experience, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was at a gas station and went inside, and this young boy came in there. He might have been maybe 10, 11. Mom may have been 30-ish, maybe. But mom was not up to par. And she came in. He looked like he just got out of the bed with his pajamas on. Sometimes some of these pants everybody's wearing look like pajama pants. And so he was just standing there with his arms behind his back. One of those children that I get the impression is one or two things. Either he is a troublemaker in school because he's not getting that attention at home, or he's one of those shy boys that just don't have too much to say and get picked on. I looked at him and I looked at her, and of course she used choice words that was not very pleasing in front of anybody, really, but let alone the child. So children pick up those things from the parents, their language. It was not appropriate. It was not very pleasing. No, I didn't say anything. I don't say anything. Most of the time, I don't say anything. I just look at them, and it's just that's the type of environment that our young folks are facing. There's no
baseline. When we heard our parents curse or saw them drink liquor or saw them do anything inappropriate, I'm talking about the Generation X, the 80s kids. When we saw that, when we were socialized in the 80s, born in the 60s, 70s, we didn't feel like we had the right to do it. Now, we stole the right to do it, but we definitely wouldn't go around cussing our parents out. That was reason for corporal punishment, the death penalty. We didn't cuss teachers out. Now, you would find somebody that would say a word every now and then. But I'm talking about the baseline of that family, the cohesiveness, the structure is what gave us that ability to obey that moral concept. But now children don't have that structure. You can go on social media and find 8, 9, 10-year-old kids video cussing out the teacher.
Oh yeah, but
just again, like a grown man would.
Right. Well, I'm walking away from this session tonight. I'm still twisting between on having a desire to do something for society to kind of help out, do something. So, I just, it was very good information. I enjoyed everything. I hope
Right.
everyone out there that heard, I'm sorry.
Good.
I hope everyone out there that heard us talking was able to relate to what we were saying and maybe come up with some ideas. It takes a group to, everybody can't think of everything. So we need some help. If you all want to step in or call in or write in or whatever, it's Awesome Radio, 107.5 WECU. We also have Ace, is it 15? Help me out, coach. You left me hanging, buddy. But anyway.
So a two-person show works better than a single-person show, don't it?
Yes.
I missed you too. My mama called me, and I didn't want it to be an emergency, so I had to tend to the one parent that I do have.
So talking about family structure, there you go, folks. But anyway, we are coming to an end. We want to thank you all for listening to us. Hopefully you guys walk away with some food for thought. Then maybe not got a whole lot of answers, but maybe you got some food for thought, and maybe come up with some ideas that you can share with us at some point in the very, very near future. School is going to be opening soon. Again, I say this is the time to be thinking about these things while school is out and got a few people's attention. So, Mr. Coach, I think you had quite a bit to say, sir. So I guess you've talked out. I appreciate you.
I know I got you feeling some kind of way, so I was like, I better leave that thing alone. But now I'm not going on a promotion telling everybody they need to get married. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. Because some people, you gotta be a special person. You gotta be in a special situation to get married, or else you just gonna make a mess.
Right.
So, but there's gotta be more unity in the community.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is 107.5 WECU. And I've had a great time with you tonight. This is Awesome Radio. See you on the next show.
Have a good week, everybody. God bless you all.